What makes a destination truly unique? Is it the food, the people, the festivals, or perhaps a deeper story woven into the fabric of the land? Today, we're embarking on a journey to understand the demographics of the United States, specifically focusing on the 12 states with the largest white populations. It's a fascinating lens through which we can trace back historical migration patterns and see how different cultures have integrated to shape the nation we know today. Let's start our exploration with Montana, a state renowned for its breathtaking landscapes and a rich, diverse heritage. The earliest chapters of Montana's story were written by hardy Italians and Germans, drawn to the fertile lands of Fergus and Park counties. They were soon joined by fellow Germans migrating from North Dakota and Canada, creating a vibrant mix of traditions and dialects. The vast open ranges of Montana proved ideal for cattle ranching, an industry dominated by English and Scottish cattlemen, though German ownership was also prevalent. Sheep farming, though initially facing some resistance from the established cattle ranchers, also found a foothold in Montana, often with farmers who traced their roots back to the British Isles. This unique blend of cultures and industries, each contributing their skills and traditions, ultimately molded Montana into the state we know and admire today, with 88.9% of its population identifying as white. Next, we venture to Utah, a state deeply intertwined with the story of the Mormon community. Their influence is undeniable, representing approximately 70% of Utah's population and serving as a testament to their pivotal role in the state's development. But Utah's story doesn't begin with the Mormons. Long before their arrival, Spanish explorers traversed the region, followed by intrepid fur traders from France, Britain, and Canada, all leaving their mark on the landscape. However, it was the arrival of the Mormon pioneers, driven by faith and seeking religious freedom, that truly transformed the region. These resilient individuals, embarking on the arduous journey from Illinois in what is now known as the Mormon Exodus, hailed from diverse corners of Europe, Britain, Canada, Denmark, and Norway, and established the first non-Native American settlement in what would become the Beehive State. Today, while the Mormon legacy remains central to Utah's identity, it's important to recognize the broader tapestry of cultures that have woven their threads into the state's fabric, contributing to its unique character and a predominantly white population of 90.6%. Now let's turn our attention to Nebraska, a state shaped by European immigration. In the late 19th century, nearly a quarter of Nebraska's residents came from abroad, enriching its cultural landscape with diverse languages and traditions. Immigrants from Denmark, Sweden, Ireland, Germany, and the Czech Republic settled in Nebraska, leaving a lasting impact that's still evident today. Names like Oliver, Henry, Liam, and Theodore are among the most popular for boys, reflecting the state's European roots and its predominantly white demographic, which stands at 88.1%. Moving on to Kansas, this heartland state also bears the marks of European migration. With its open skies and fertile plains, Kansas attracted settlers from England, Germany, Ireland, and Sweden. The state became a melting pot of cultures, evident in the popular names of its children. Classic names like William, James, and Charles coexist with rising favorites like Mason and Elijah, showcasing Kansas's heritage. Today, about 86.1% of Kansas's population identifies as white, highlighting its historically homogeneous makeup. Our journey then takes us to Kentucky, a state synonymous with bluegrass music, rolling hills, and a rich historical tapestry. Like Kansas, Kentucky experienced a significant influx of European settlers, particularly Irish, German, and English immigrants, all leaving their mark on the state's cultural identity. This influence can be seen in everything from traditional crafts and music to, perhaps most interestingly, the names given to Kentucky's children. Names like William, James, and John, staples of European heritage, remain popular choices for baby boys, alongside the increasingly popular Elijah and Mason. This enduring legacy, coupled with a predominantly white population currently at 87.8%, underscores the impact of Kentucky's early European settlers on the state's demographic makeup. Venturing westward, we reach Oregon, a state celebrated for its rugged coastline, lush forests, and a history intertwined with European exploration and settlement. Oregon's allure proved irresistible to waves of European immigrants, particularly English, German, Irish, and Scandinavian communities, all eager to carve their own destinies amidst its natural splendor. Their arrival marked a turning point in Oregon's demographic development, shaping its cultural landscape and leaving an enduring legacy. Today, approximately 87.5% of Oregon's population identifies as white, a testament to the significant role European migration played in shaping the state's identity. Our next stop takes us to Iowa, a state often associated with heartland values, sprawling cornfields, and a strong sense of community. For many, a visit to an Iowa county fair, with its traditional crafts, agricultural displays, and lively music, reveals a predominantly white demographic. This might come as a surprise to some, considering Iowa's rich history of welcoming immigrants from diverse corners of the world. The state's early settlement period saw a significant influx of Scandinavians, along with Dutch, German, Irish, Scots, and Welsh settlers, all contributing to the cultural tapestry of the region. Later, New Englanders and Quakers arrived, followed by Mormon settlers seeking refuge and religious freedom. Although not as prominent as in Utah, Iowa's Mormon community remains a significant part of the state's diverse fabric. With 90.6% of its population currently identifying as white, Iowa offers a fascinating case study in how historical immigration patterns can shape a state's demographics, sometimes challenging our preconceived notions about diversity and cultural heritage. As we prepare to explore the remaining states on our list, we find ourselves drawn to a region with a particularly intriguing story, a state where the concept of diversity is often met with a knowing smile, a state where, as some locals humorously suggest, Taco Bell represents the pinnacle of cultural variety. But behind this lighthearted observation lies a more complex history, one shaped by early European settlers and their enduring legacy on the state's cultural and demographic landscape. New England, with its charming towns, rugged coastlines, and rich colonial history, has always held a distinct place in the American narrative. But what about its demographic landscape? New Hampshire, for instance, is a state where the lack of ethnic diversity is often remarked upon, sometimes lightheartedly, sometimes with genuine concern. Some residents joke that a trip to Taco Bell represents a significant cultural excursion, highlighting the relative homogeneity of their communities. But this doesn't mean New Hampshire lacks a rich cultural heritage. Quite the contrary. New Hampshire's roots reach back to the colonial era, with the first European settlers primarily hailing from Britain. As the 18th century drew to a close, waves of Scottish and Irish immigrants arrived, adding their own unique threads to the cultural tapestry. New Hampshire's burgeoning textile industry also attracted a significant number of French Canadians from Quebec, seeking opportunity and a new life. These French Canadian communities left an enduring mark on the state, with their language, traditions, and cuisine still evident today. While New Hampshire's demographic makeup remains predominantly white, with 93.1% of its population identifying as such, it's essential to acknowledge the multifaceted cultural influences that have shaped its identity. Maine, New Hampshire's neighbor to the east, shares a similar demographic story. Even in Portland, Maine's largest city, the white population stands at a significant 91.27%. This might seem surprising considering Portland's status as a bustling urban center, but it reflects a broader trend across New England. Compare this to Portland, Oregon, on the opposite coast, where the white population hovers around 76%, and we gain a fascinating perspective on the demographic variations that exist within the United States. Maine, known affectionately as the Pine Tree State, boasts a 94.4% white population overall, underscoring its position among the states with the least racial diversity. Continuing our New England exploration, we arrive in Vermont, a state renowned for its breathtaking natural beauty, charming villages, and a strong sense of community. Vermont and New Hampshire share a remarkable resemblance, not only in their geographical proximity, but also in their demographic profiles and historical trajectories. Both states were initially settled by Europeans, with immigrants from England, Ireland, and Scotland laying the foundation for their cultural and societal development. Like New Hampshire, Vermont also welcomed a significant influx of French Canadians from Quebec, drawn by the promise of employment and a new life. This shared history of immigration has resulted in a remarkably similar cultural blend, with English, Irish, Scottish, and French Canadian influences woven into the fabric of both states. Today, Vermont's population is 94.2% white, highlighting the enduring legacy of European migration and its impact on the demographic makeup of New England. As we approach the top of our list, we encounter two states that, despite their geographical distance, share a common thread: a historical narrative deeply intertwined with European migration and a predominantly white demographic. Wyoming, a state renowned for its rugged beauty, vast plains, and pioneering spirit, might initially seem an unlikely candidate for our list. After all, Wyoming's early settlement history was surprisingly diverse. British, German, Italian, Basque, and even Greek communities all contributed to the state's cultural foundation, each adding their unique flavor to the mix. In fact, during the territorial period, individuals from the British Isles constituted a significant portion of Wyoming's population, accounting for roughly 20% of the total population and over half of its foreign-born residents. This early British influence is still evident in the state's cultural landscape today. Over the years, Wyoming's appeal has broadened, drawing people from all walks of life seeking adventure, opportunity, and a connection with the great outdoors. Despite this influx of newcomers, Wyoming's demographic makeup remains largely unchanged, with 92.5% of its population identifying as white, a testament to the enduring legacy of its early European settlers. Finally, let's take a closer look at West Virginia, our top-ranking state, often celebrated for its rich Appalachian traditions, tight-knit communities, and strong regional identity. The state's demographic evolution is a fascinating story, deeply rooted in historical migration patterns. In the mid-18th century, settlers from Pennsylvania, primarily of Scottish, Irish, and German descent, began crossing the Allegheny Mountains in search of new opportunities and fertile land in what would become West Virginia. These early pioneers established deep roots in the region, influencing everything from local dialects and cuisine to the musical traditions that characterize Appalachian culture, particularly the haunting ballads and lively fiddle tunes that define its folk music. Today, West Virginia boasts an impressive white population of 93.5%, one of the highest percentages in the nation. While this statistic may not be surprising, given the state's history and relative isolation, it's important to note that the lack of ethnic diversity is more pronounced in its rural mountainous areas compared to urban centers. This observation illustrates the complex interplay between geography, historical settlement patterns, and modern demographics. Despite its predominantly white population, West Virginia's cultural landscape remains vibrant and dynamic, showcasing the enduring legacy of its early European settlers and the rich traditions they brought with them. As we conclude our exploration of the 12 states with the largest white populations, we hope you've gained a deeper understanding of the diverse forces that have shaped America's demographic tapestry. This narrative is rich with waves of immigration, cultural exchange, and the legacies of those who came before us, all in pursuit of a better life for themselves and their families. Thank you for joining us on this insightful journey. We encourage you to continue exploring the rich tapestry of American culture and demographics with us. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating explorations of the diverse communities that make up our nation. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.